Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're diving into a topic that honestly can be a little scary for any student or writer: plagiarism. But here's the thing: what if I told you that using other people's work isn't just okay, it's actually essential for making your own work great? Yeah, really. We're going to break down exactly how to do it the right way so you can use sources with total confidence and make your own arguments way stronger. So let's get right into it. Okay, so let's set the scene. You've been digging through research for hours, and then, boom, you find it, the perfect source. It's got the exact stat you need, that killer quote, that one brilliant idea that ties everything together. So, what's next? What do you actually do with it? How do you get it into your paper without messing up? And that question leads us straight into what I call the plagiarism trap. Seriously, it's called a trap for a reason. It is so easy to fall into, and a lot of the time, it's completely by accident. We're not talking about someone who's deliberately trying to cheat here. Nope. A tiny mistake, a simple oversight, that can lead to some pretty serious problems. So, let's just get a super clear definition on the table. Plagiarism, it's just using someone else's words or ideas without giving them credit. Simple as that. But here's the part that catches so many people out. It doesn't matter if you meant to do it or not. Whether it's deliberate or totally accidental, it's still plagiarism. Forgetting a citation, missing a quotation mark, that can get you into the same hot water as someone who copied and pasted a whole essay. And that is the trap. Okay, so what does this actually look like? What are we talking about here? Well, it could be as simple as forgetting to reference that idea you got from somewhere else. Or maybe you forgot to put quotation marks around a direct quote. Those are the classics. But it gets trickier. It can also be when you try to rephrase something, but you don't change the original wording enough. Or this thing called patch writing. It's like you're making a quilt, stitching together sentences from a bunch of different sources. Even if you swap out a few words, it's still a problem. And of course, the big one, just straight up copying and pasting without giving credit. That's the most obvious one, for sure. All right, so that's the scary part, the problem. But here's the good news, and it's really good news. Staying out of that trap is actually super straightforward. I'm going to give you an academic toolkit, basically. It's got 4 simple but seriously powerful tools that will guarantee your work is 100% clean and original. Ready? Here they are, your 4 golden rules. Number 1, cite. Anytime you use info that's not yours, you acknowledge the source right there in the text. Number 2, quote. If you use their exact words, you have to wrap them in quotation marks. A quick tip here, use this sparingly. Too many quotes and your own voice gets lost. Number 3, paraphrase. Now this one is the real MVP. This is where you put the idea completely in your own words. And finally, number 4, reference. You always have to provide the full citation in a list at the end of your paper. You master these 4 things, you'll never, ever have to worry about plagiarism again. Okay, so out of those 4 big rules, I want to zoom in on one in particular, because it's usually the trickiest, but it's also the most powerful, and that's paraphrasing. Honestly, getting this right is like an academic superpower. It's not just about staying safe from plagiarism, it's the absolute best way to show that you actually truly understand what you're writing about. So what is it really? Well, paraphrasing is just taking someone else's idea and explaining it in your own unique words, with your own sentence structure. But and this is so important, you still have to give them credit for that idea. Think of it like this: you're borrowing their car, not their clothes. You're using their concept, but you're describing it in your own style. And you always say thanks for the loan by adding a citation. To make sure you've got a really solid paraphrase, you've got to check 4 boxes. Think of it as a quality control checklist. 1, it has to have the exact same meaning. You can't change the author's original point. Like if the source says there's a possible link between 2 things, you can't paraphrase it as "this proves a link." That's a big no-no. 2, you have to include all the important info. Don't leave out key details that could change the whole meaning. 3, you've got to use very different words and sentence structures. This is crucial. And 4, last but not least, you still have to cite the source. Get all 4 of those right and you're golden. All right, so how do we actually do this step by step? It's a 4-step process. First, you read. And I don't mean just skim it. Read the original text until you understand it so well that you could turn to your friend and explain it without even looking at the page. Then, and this is the most important part of the whole process, put the original away. Seriously, hide it. Don't look at it. Now, from your memory, you reorder the information. Maybe start with their main point instead of their background info. Then reword it. Use your own vocabulary, your own synonyms. Finally, restructure the sentences. If they used one long sentence, break it into 2 short ones. If they had short, choppy sentences, combine them. The goal is to make it sound like you. Okay, that's a lot of theory. Let's see it in action, right? Let's put this to the test. I'm going to show you a short passage, and then we're going to look at two different attempts to paraphrase it. Your job is to figure out which one nails it, based on the rules we just went over. All right, here's our original text. Go ahead and take a second to read it. So basically, it's about why ancient Egypt collapsed around 2180 BC. The key ideas are there was a long drought, that drought affected the Nile, and because the Nile was affected, society couldn't feed itself. Got it? Okay, so take a look at these two options. Which one is the better paraphrase? Let's break it down. If you look at option A, it's just too vague. It says changes in the weather, which loses that really specific, important detail about a prolonged drought. Plus, where's the date? It's gone. That's crucial info. Now look at B. This one is fantastic. It rewords prolonged drought to a long dry period. Perfect. It restructures the whole sentence to start with the research part. And most importantly, it keeps all the key details, the cause, the effect, and that all-important date. B is absolutely the winner here. That's a textbook perfect paraphrase. So I hope you see that this whole thing, it's about so much more than just not getting in trouble. When you learn how to handle sources the right way, what you're really doing is finding and developing your own academic voice. You're showing respect for this huge, ongoing conversation of ideas that you're now a part of. It's really all about intellectual honesty and your own integrity. So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Instead of looking at a source and thinking, how can I use this? Try thinking, how can I have a conversation with this? So ask yourself, how are you going to use the work of others not to replace what you think, but to build on it, to challenge it, and in the end, to make your own voice even stronger and more unique? Something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me.